The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's Marketing Clinic with your host, James McDonald.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea. I'd like to welcome our participants to our ad clinic session here. I want to thank everybody, especially who uploaded ads for us to take a look at here this morning. And we've got a good mix. We've got all kinds of different online ads. We've got some print ads, editorial style ads, and everywhere in between. So that's really great. And obviously that's the goal, is to diversify where your lead generation is coming from. And that doesn't just include what you're doing, but I want you to think about this. You yourself are running some different ads, maybe some online stuff and some print, some direct mail stuff. You've got your signage, and that way you're diverse, and you've got leads coming in from various sources. But also what you're adding to it over time are some effective lead generation companies that you can hire, and they too will contribute to your lead generation flow as well. So you're not running out and doing all of this immediately, of course, but this is the process, so that we get to the point where if you're generating several hundred leads a week from various sources, it's never going to dry up. It's always going to be consistent and absolutely predictable, so that you have the luxury of choice. And I want you to really consider this. The more choice you have, the easier it is to be the rejector versus the rejectee. Now, this is really important. It means you do not have to book an appointment with somebody who doesn't sound very good. You do not have to do business with somebody who doesn't seem very good. You don't have to do that. As a matter of fact, maybe you'll be of the mindset where doing business with somebody like that is at the cost of somebody else who's much better. So, but we only have this luxury if we generate choice. So the way we generate choice isn't by running one ad and running it every hour on the hour. The way we generate a substantial amount of choice is by doing lots of different things, and each one of them contribute to our lead generation, until one day we wake up and we realize that you're generating 750 leads a month from all of these various sources. If you're generating that kind of leads, which many of our students are, particularly those that are up in the platinum level, you are in a position where you can pick and choose who it is that you're going to work with, and you would never work with anyone that isn't an A++ candidate. So that's what we're really talking about here today, is how do we generate choice? What are some of the things that we can do to generate choice? And something that Craig says all the time that you just have to nod your head and say, boy, that's really true, is that a $50 ad is always going to cost $50 regardless of your return on investment. So if you run a $50 ad and your return on investment is zero, it's a $50 ad that made you zero. But if that same $50 ad generated you $1 million in income, the ad is still always going to cost you $50. So that means that we might as well maximize the result of our $50 ad, or whatever we're paying for our marketing. We never stop looking at ways to tweak and improve on the response, both the quality and the quantity of response that we generate from a given ad. So let's take a look at our first ad here. Now this looks like a print ad, perhaps a homes for sale classified ad, and it says, "We buy houses cash. Premier new construction and restoration, cash offer in 24 hours, closing within 5 days, any condition, any area, no equity, okay, referral fees paid for properties, foreclosure specialist, vacant or tenant problems, okay, webuyhomes.com. Okay, here's the thing with this ad, is that if you run this ad under homes for sale, certainly you can test it there in a classified section, but because you're offering to purchase someone's home, and what you're going to find is that the primary purpose of prospects looking under homes for sale is because they too are looking for a home for sale. So you're running an ad looking for a home for sale, but the prospects that are looking there, primarily, they're also looking for a home for sale. Now, some of them have homes to sell, that's true. My fear is this: if I'm a prospect and I'm looking where this ad is running in the classifieds, because I'm looking for a property for sale that I might like to buy, knowing that, of course, I'm also going to sell my home. The reason that I might not consider this ad is because my perception is that this looks like it's for somebody who's desperate. And if that makes me, if I'm desperate to sell my home, then it means that you're going to pay far less than what my home is worth. And that is a concern that screams out with these kinds of ads like this. So here, let me offer you a couple of alternatives that you might want to test with this, okay? And again, we need to test it. Everywhere we run the ad is a test. We're going to track the results and compare it against another approach. But here's an approach that I think might be worthy. What if we took this out of the classifieds and we ran this as a display ad, a remnant space ad? First thing that I would do is, number one, maybe cut down on some of these bullet points to make the ad more readable, but also you need to accentuate the call to action. In other words, right now it has a phone number, it has an address, and it has a domain name, but it doesn't tell the prospect what to do or why they should do it. So in other words, my question is, why would I visit WeBuyHomes.com? What is going to happen when I do that? What is going to happen when I call this 817 number? What is going to happen here? And so that's got to be, in other words, the structure of the ad itself is weak. And that needs to be looked at. We need to give a reason why the prospect would call that number. Preferably, they should be calling into a toll-free number. So a lot more prospects do it. Many of them are going to be scared off by calling a local number and talking to a salesperson, or at least that's their perception. And as far as the domain name goes, it's kind of an afterthought, and there's no reason to visit it. There's nothing that you're getting there that it talks about. So that's a big mistake. You know, here's what the landing page looks like, by the way. Thank you for that, Andrea. We Buy Homes. So there's plenty of information here that could be talked about in the ad. What is being offered, though? If you would like to sell your property, please fill out the form below, and we will contact you. Sell your home without stress. Sell your home fast, no matter what the condition. We Buy Homes. You know, like maybe it should say something like, to find out what will buy your home for, visit. That would be very compelling, right? If it said, to determine what will buy your home for, visit www.webuyhomes.com. That would be a very compelling call to action in here. But you know what? I got to circle back to the ad, and I have to say this. This is an example of a homemade, invented ad when on the Craig Proctor Coaching website, there are hundreds of Craig Proctor ads that were responsible for the sale of over 500 homes a year for 15 years straight. So just let me repeat that. On the coaching website are hundreds, certainly dozens of ads that all were responsible and contributed to the selling of over 500 homes a year every year for 15 years straight. Having said that, is there really a need to invent a homemade ad when we have all of those other proven successful ads available to test first? The answer is, of course not. So, I mean, I have suggestions to improve this ad, where to run it, where you might want to place it as opposed to the classifieds, call to action, things like that. But at the end of the day, I have to tell you, where you want to start is by copying what already exists, what is already there, that has already been proven to generate lead after lead after lead, as opposed to inventing something that is completely unnecessary. So, we can do something with this, but I just hope that whoever is running this ad is also running the proven Craig Proctor ads that are given to you on the website. All right, what's next, Andrea?
Okay, hold on one second. I have this one turned around also.
And by the way, Andrea, we should let everybody know that while I'm going through these ads, talking about them, anybody who wants to type in the chat any questions or anything like that, you'll be monitoring that, Andrea, and you can you can just pipe in with any related questions, and I will address them on the fly here. So just feel free to interrupt me.
Got it.
Okay, so here is a Facebook page. A Facebook ad. So you're scrolling through the news feed. You live in Fort Worth, Texas. If you do not live in Fort Worth, Texas, you would never ever see this ad. because this is only for sellers in Fort Worth. Now, what I like is it's coming from Fort Worth real estate information, which is critical that it not come from a realtor. It comes from an information source. That's very good. And it says, Fort Worth sellers thinking about selling your home in 2016, find out how much your home is really worth. Maybe we can consolidate that message to say, Fort Worth sellers, find out what your home is really worth in 2016. Now, maybe the member would say, well, I want to include thinking of selling in 2016 as a qualifier, but I think you're going to find it's going to get exactly the same audience. So, in other words, anybody, here's where the rubber hits the road, okay? Somebody might be curious as to the value of their home, even though they have no intention of selling it. They might click on the ad, because after all, it burns half a calorie clicking on the ad. But when they get to your website and they're required to give their contact details, somebody who's not remotely considering selling their home, 99 out of 100 times, that's where they stop and they just leave. They just leave. In other words, the name of the game is let's drive prospects to your landing page because they want to know the value of their home in Fort Worth. When they get there, the ones that are serious and ready, the ones that are more motivated are the ones that are going to give up their anonymity as well as their details on their property. So, if we can tighten up the wording of this, it might help. Okay, so, and then we've got a nice photograph of a property here. Now, one of the things that we talk about with a photograph of a property is it's really important that the property be representative. Like, if we're going to use a property, let's use a property that is representative of a typical property. And, you know, I gotta say, I'm guessing this is. You know, from what I know of my trips to the Dallas area, this is probably a pretty typical right down the middle property that you'd find in Fort Worth. And so you're not, as long as it is not disqualifying, then it's a very good idea to do this. But of course, we can experiment with other things as well. We can have a nice picture of a landscape property, you know, backyard, you know, a beautiful kitchen, a map. There are all kinds of different photographs that we can use that aren't disqualifying as well that you could test. The fear is this. If I'm scrolling through the news feed and I look at something that I can't relate to because it looks nothing like my property, then it really doesn't matter what information you're offering. It's not really to me. It's not about me. It's not about my needs, and it's not about me specifically. So I disqualify it. So we just have to be careful of that. But I like this ad. And you know, I guess the demographics that it goes out to are going to be are going to determine who sees it. But obviously, you're looking for adult Fort Worth homeowners to respond to this ad. Now, I see here it says underneath free quick online home evaluation. What I would like to know, Andrew, and I don't know if there's any way of finding this out, is this our landing page, a Success website landing page that is being used here? There's no way of finding out, huh?
Right, unless our member's on and they can give us a little bit more information. I know that a few of our members were going, there's no real call to action, there's no click here, there's no site for people to go to, so.
And that's it, right? So we can't we can't know, because the only way that we could find out is by clicking on the photograph, but it doesn't tell the prospect to do that. And of course, we're looking at a picture, so there's no way for us to find out, to determine the landing page. And to the prospect, the only thing they can do, if they knew to, is to click on the photograph. Now, here's what I will say. 999 out of 1,000 users of Facebook would know that they can press their thumb on the photograph to visit the website. I mean, it's highly likely, but that doesn't matter. Never assume that the prospect knows what to do and why. Never assume that. We always have to tell them. The marketing message must always be complete. It needs to tell them what to do and why they're going to do it, and not in that order, in the reverse order. Here's what is being offered. Benefit first, then here's what you have to do to get it. We'll call that the commitment. Benefit comes first. Fort Worth sellers, thinking about selling your home in 2016, find out how much your home is really worth right now. Okay, that is the benefit. Now, here's how you get it. Visit or click to determine the value of your property, right? Or to get a free quick over the net home evaluation.
Patty,
I mean,
she's confirming that yes, it is a success landing page. And I just
yeah,
wanted to pipe
great.
in that we do have, a proven formula to these ads. And on the coaching site, under our Facebook examples, you'll see that we always have, click here, go to this site, and it's been proven to work.
Yeah, absolutely. However, the online home evaluation is, I would say, the #1 message to run. So that you've got, here are two really good things with this ad. Well, I'll make it 3. #1, I like where it's coming from, Fort Worth real estate information. Very, very good. #2, I like that you're offering the value of your home online. Find out how much your home is really worth, and that you're specifying Fort Worth. And number 3, of all the photographs of properties that are included in these different ads, almost all of them are completely disqualifying. This one for Fort Worth is probably the least disqualifying photograph of a property that you'll find. So if you're going to test featuring a photograph of a property, this is a pretty damn good one for Fort Worth. And Andrea, you're from Texas, so I mean, I guess Fort Worth isn't.
It's not too far away, and I would say this is a typical new construction home, and it's beautiful.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. So, so you got all that going for you. Your problem is in the call to action, right, and explaining what to do
Yes.
and how to do it. But very good. Okay, so let's keep going, and I'm sure there'll be some other Facebook ads to look at as well. All right, ad number 3. This is an editorial style ad. Not bad, not crazy about the headline, but it says, home sellers, avoid falling short of home inspection requirements weeks before listing your Clovis home for sale. I'd like you to write, since that's a very long headline, I'd like you to have it say Clovis home sellers. All right, let's really call out to Clovis home sellers, since this is running obviously in Clovis, and this is a really long headline. Avoid, I'm trying to figure out how can we shorten this headline. Clovis home sellers, avoid falling short of home inspection requirements weeks before listing your Clovis home for sale. Clovis home sellers, avoid failing your home inspection. Yeah, I guess we'd have to work on it, but it'd be sure nice to make this headline a little bit shorter, because this is a real marathon reading just the headline itself. And remember, the headline is what grabs the prospect's attention, so we've got to make sure they read it. So the more succinct we can make this headline, the more likely it is that a prospect that's considering selling would be compelled by it and read the copy. So that's something that we want to look at here. But let's take a look at what happened. It's, first of all, this ran every other week, and this generated 3 leads, and it says they contacted 3. But let me just say this. How many of the leads that you contacted and how many appointments you set and all that is wonderful. It's great. We like to hear about it, but we have to understand and differentiate here. The purpose of the ad is to generate the prospect. It's to drive them to your website or your hotline and to generate a lead. The ad has nothing to do with your ability to reach that prospect. The ad has nothing to do with your ability to convert that prospect into an appointment. And the ad has nothing to do with your ability to take a client and sell their home or find them a property. So we've got to understand that all we can do when we're critiquing the ad is we can only critique it for what it does, which is it drives a prospect to respond. By going to your website, by calling your hotline, by calling you, by doing something. The purpose of the ad is to drive the prospect, to compel the prospect to do something that they didn't do otherwise. That's the purpose of an ad. So this ad got 3 prospects to do exactly that. It said one of the, so this is the summary of the leads. 100% committed to a family realtor, not open to meeting another agent. All right, and then the other 2 leads are saying that they're further off in the future. Now remember this: every prospect is going to make themselves sound as though they're less motivated than they actually are. That's called normal. The ad clearly says home inspection requirements weeks before listing your Clovis home for sale. So we just have to understand that if somebody calls in, they leave all their contact information about a report on failing a home inspection weeks before they sell their home. Okay? The reason that they're doing that isn't because they're planning on moving in 2 years. It's just not. But I don't doubt that they would tell you. I mean, when you walk into the shoe store and you say you're just looking, even though your intentions are that within 20 minutes you want to be walking out of there with new shoes. Those are your intentions. Within 20 minutes, I want to be walking out of this store with new shoes that I'm really happy with. But when you walked into the store, you looked at the salesperson point blank and you said, I'm just looking. You made yourself appear as though you were far less motivated than you are. So now, this is not the fault of the ad. It has nothing to do with the ad. The ad got somebody to respond. That's what it did. And that somebody gave up their anonymity. They asked for real estate information. They read the entire headline and ad. Okay, they did all of those things, and the reason they did it is because they're more motivated than somebody that didn't. Now, when we called them back, what we did when we followed up with that prospect was not effective. That has nothing to do with the ad, absolutely nothing, and has nothing to do with the prospect either. The prospect did their job. The prospect's job is to make themselves appear as though they're less motivated than they are. No kidding. They're all going to say that. Yeah, hi, I'm Mr. Smith. I noticed you requested my report. Are you going to be selling your home in the next couple weeks? Let me guess. No. Of course. They're all 100% are going to say no. Because we're the salesperson, they're the prospect. That's what they're going to say. So this is a topic for, obviously, our role play session. But I just want everyone to understand that if every 2 weeks you ran this ad and you generated 3 leads, then that would mean that you'd be generating 75 sellers a year. 75 sellers a year who are indicating that they want to know how to avoid these home inspection pitfalls weeks before they list their Clovis home. Out of those 75 sellers in Clovis, and Clovis ain't a big place, out of those 75 sellers in Clovis, I don't care if even a third of them are going to do it in 2016. A third of them means you're taking on, 25, 30 listings. That's really good. That's really, really good. But it's only going to happen only if we do a really good job of our lead conversion. So, but as far as this editorial goes, this is pretty good. I'd like to tighten up the headline, though. That's the only critique I have to improve on this. If more people read the headline, more will respond to the ad. All right, let's keep going.
Well, before we move on, I wanted to mention it's interesting to note that the newsletter was declined by a few of the prospects, and that makes me feel like maybe the benefit hasn't been portrayed, because I rarely ever see that in any of our members' marketing, that the prospect declines a newsletter.
Has nothing to do with the ad. A prospect declining the newsletter has nothing to do with the ad. It means that the prospect didn't see the benefit, and the only person's fault that is ours. So we have to understand that, look, this prospect responded to information. So we know 100%, at very least, this prospect wants real estate information. Want to know how we know that? Because they requested real estate information, and they gave up their anonymity to get real estate information. Now, if we do a job where we call them back and we make them feel that they're being threatened by a salesperson, then I don't care if you say, would you like me to mail you gold bricks? You know what the prospect will say to the threatening, scary salesperson? No, thanks. Nope, not interested. No, I'm good. No, thanks. But that's not the prospect's fault. It just means we've got to work on our follow-up, because what we're saying to the prospect is causing them to see us as a salesperson as opposed to the provider of information. It's causing the prospect to see us as a threat instead of a guest, a provider of information. That's our fault, but we can fix it. We can fix it. The words that come out of our mouth and what we say and how we say it can change the way the prospect perceives us and make them far more open to receiving even more and better information than they initially requested. So Yes, I completely agree. You know, all that does, the fact that the prospect declined receiving your free monthly newsletter full of market information, more and better information than they requested in the first place, the fact that they declined that tells me we need to work on your follow-up phone call, the universal callback script. That's all. But no, hey, no biggie. We can fix it. We can work on it. We can get better at it. And when we do, what you're going to find is the prospect that said, we're not doing anything for a couple of years, what you're going to notice is they're listed for sale in the next 90 days. And when that happens, you'll go, okay, I get this now. Huh. So just to be clear, the prospects lie. They misinform a salesperson as to their true intentions. How very interesting. I never would have imagined that a consumer would ever be a little disingenuous to a salesperson. Once you realize that, you're like, okay, I get this. Of course that's what they're going to do. That's what we do to salespeople. We've got to be smarter than that, and we've got to understand that that's why Craig designed the universal script to work the way it does. We need to be providers of information. We need to be the least threatening we can possibly be so that we are not perceived as salespeople. But we're off on a different topic here, Andrea, so we better get back on track.
Okay, here is another editorial.
All right. And this one is also inspections. This is a little tighter here. This one says, 11 critical home inspection traps to be aware of weeks before listing your Los Angeles home for sale. I like that one. See, that's the same home inspection one, but I don't know, it's just a little more concise and easier to read because of it. The more people that read the headline, the more that will read the copy, right? The more that read the headline, the more that will read the article. So if the headline is a little too long and rambling, maybe even a little nonsensical, it makes it less likely. So this is better and more concise, and as a result, this ran on page 9 of the local weekly newspaper, 30,000 circulation, and it generated 13 leads. And I'd say that's pretty good. Now here's the upside. I don't care if this ad always generates 13 leads and never generates a single lead more than that. You and your ability to convert the leads is going to improve. So in other words, the number of leads will stay the same, 13, week in and week out, which by the way is a ton. Like we're talking about, what is that, a couple thousand, well, what would it be? This comes out how long? Weekly? Yeah, we're talking about a lot of leads here, like 600 leads a year, just from this one thing if we did this every single week. But here's the thing. Your ability to convert the leads is going to get better and better and better and better. Even though you're still just generating 13 leads every time you run the ad, more and more of those prospects are going to be converted. And here's how I want you to think of these prospects. They are post-dated checks. That's what they are. They're post-dated checks that you are not allowed to cash because they're post-dated. But they are checks. That's what they are. They are checks. They are cash. But they're not cashable until the future. Your job is to figure out when in the future are these checks cashable, because they're not giving you the date that you can cash the check. The purpose of your phone call is to find out what date can I cash this check. That is the purpose. Right? It's a good way of looking at this. These prospects are requesting this information because they are considering selling their home. Nobody cares about passing a home inspection who isn't thinking about selling their home. They're just not. So our job is to get on the phone, very non-threatening, provider of information to determine their timing and their motivation to sell. But I'll tell you what, 13 leads is real good here. And $255 is pretty expensive. Maybe if you can commit to running the ad every week, we can get the price down on that. But again, $255 is only expensive if you don't convert anything. I mean, honestly, that's the truth. It's only expensive based on your ability to convert. If it didn't generate any leads, then yeah, we should stop doing it. Stop spending $250 on that. But if it generates 13 leads every time, I'll tell you what, this is going to pay for itself for the entire year in one transaction many, many times over in Los Angeles. So No, this is a no-brainer. You will never stop doing this. Now, here's something that I would consider. If this is running in Venice, in other words, or what do they call that? They call it the South Bay in Los Angeles. If this road goes to 30,000 homes, okay? Well, 30,000 is a tiny area in Los Angeles. I mean, what do they have? 5-10 million people in the greater areas. It's absolutely huge. So 30,000 is nothing. That tells me that it's more geographically isolated area. So I see that it says Venice on the left. So if that area, well, if it was just Venice, then I would have it say Venice right in the headline. Like, appeal to the people that are getting the newspaper. If that's Venice, then hell, call it Venice, not Los Angeles. Make it specific. The more specific, the more beneficial to those prospects. If it's not Venice, if it's more the whole area, then I think that area is called the South Bay. So you could say, before listing your South Bay home for sale, the more specific you can make it to the prospect, the more it's about them, and the more they have to have that information. Okay, let's keep going, Andrea.
Now, this is a cover letter that the member asked us just to take a look at and give your thoughts on.
Okay, so this is being sent out for when you mail out the free special report. Yep. Listen, here's the purpose of the cover letter. Okay, is what we want to make sure is from the second the prospect responds to your non-branded information, your less branded information, from that second, everything is branded to Adam. That's the point where now that we've captured the prospect, okay, from that point forward, everything is branded, everything is coming from Adam. We are going to make sure that Adam is positioned as the provider of all of the information that the prospect receives. And by the way, I've got this wrong. This is for Adam from, and I need to see that information by the picture at the top. Scroll down, Andrea. I can't see the bottom. I can't see the bottom of the picture. This is coming from Jordan. Okay, I thought I recognized Jordan here. Okay, so here's what I'd like. Keep everything the same as it is right there, but underneath your picture, have it say Jordan Tanner as well. Just in case. See, here's why. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that there are going to be some prospects that aren't going to read this whole letter. They might just look at it. So here's what we really want to make sure. If they just look at this letter with the intention that they're going to read it later on but never do, I want them to see that this comes from Jordan Tanner. So at the very top, I also want you to make sure that this is very much branded to Jordan Tanner. Let's make no mistake that the free special report that they've received is coming from Jordan. Okay, because everything that we do forward with that prospect is going to be branded from Jordan now that we've identified the prospect, including USP and anything else that is sent. All right, good job. Let's keep going. All right, here's our renter's ad. Stop paying your landlord's mortgage. Free report reveals how easy it is to buy your own home. Okay, honestly, here's what I prefer. If you're going to run a classified renter ad, obviously you can test all the different ads that we've got here, but the one that I like better is stop paying your landlord's mortgage, free list of first-time buyer properties that carry for less than rent. In other words, properties are more compelling for a prospect to respond to than reports. So if I have a choice, I can either offer you a report on how to buy a home, or I can send you a list of homes that you could buy. You would be more compelled by the homes themselves than the report on how to do it. So you're going to test these two things. It says I've been running this ad for 8 weeks. You should never be doing anything for 8 weeks without a response. You should run it for 1 week. If you run an ad for 1 week and it doesn't generate a response, it's never going to. So without changing something, we don't need to run anything for 2 months to know that it is either successful or not successful. So we've always got to be changing it. Every time we run the ad, we got to change something in the ad. He says here, I plan to run it again with a URL. But if you've run this for 8 weeks with an 800 number and no URL, you should have on the very first week run it with a URL. We are always changing it. We don't need to, these are direct response ads. We don't need to run them for months and months and then say, well, I've been running it for 5 years and I'm pretty satisfied it doesn't work. We don't need to do that. We know instantaneously if we run an ad and the ad runs and it doesn't generate a response, it is never going to. Now, that doesn't mean we have to scrap the ad, but what it means is we must change the ad, add a URL, change the offer, change where we run it. But we can always change something. Now, here's the magic in this, is that when you hit on the formula that does generate a lead or two, it will always generate a lead or two. And as long as we do it exactly that way. So I like the renter's ad, but the next thing that I would test is I would test a free list of first-time buyer properties that carry for less than rent. That's a really good offer to make. All right, let's keep going, Andrea.
Well, just really quickly too, that URL seems awfully complicated for a print ad, especially with the dot in the middle, the first-time buyers dot start moving dot net. It just seems someone's not going to want to type all that out, and you're not going to be able to click on it. And also, it doesn't go to a success landing page, so it's really hard to determine an accurate response from our side.
Here's something else as well. I much prefer that your ad target the audience that you're attracting. So where? Like, is this a generic ad that runs in every newspaper across the country? Or is this, wherever you are, so it says Rancon Real Estate, so I don't know if that helps, but let's say that you live in a place called Rancon. Well, then that's who it should be addressed to. It should be addressed to Rancon renters. You have to call out to the audience that you want to attract, because the more specific you are, the more beneficial the information is to that audience. So in your domain name, I would rather your domain name be www.ranconfirsttimebuyers.net. That's a much better domain name. But we have to specify the name, the area, the audience that we're trying to attract in the ad. So there are all kinds of things that we could test in this ad from week to week to see what yields us the best response on the ad. And then once we hit on that formula, you're going to hit the repeat button and do it over and over again.
Okay, another from Larry. Unfortunately, it's just a picture of the editorial, so we're not able to really see where it's at in the paper.
See, this one says Temecula. I love it. Stop paying your landlord's mortgage and learn to own your own Temecula Valley home. Okay, now in an editorial ad, you're not offering a list of properties, so this makes a whole lot more sense, right? You're going to offer a free special report. Here's something else that I want you to consider too, though, by the way, as far as a headline goes, without changing anything in the ad itself. Although I would test running it without a domain name as well. But here's what I'd like you to test is, instead of running an ad that says, stop paying your landlord's mortgage and learn how to own your own Temecula Valley home, we can also run free special reports, or the same exact report, but experiment with the headline a little bit. Like, it would say, stop paying your landlord's mortgage and learn how to purchase a Temecula home with little or no money down. Right? In other words, what would compel a first-time homebuyer to take action? What if a first-time homebuyer thought that they needed more money down than they actually did? What if we could run a report that captured that first-time buyer, that renter who will be the first-time buyer, by compelling them that they needed less money than they thought they did? I'll tell you right now, that gets them to read the article. And if they read the article, they're going to request the information. So nothing changes in the ad, and nothing changes with the report. We're just experimenting with different headlines, because the headline is the ad for the ad, and it's going to grab the attention of the prospect. So that's what I'd be working on, Larry, to improve. But this is good. I like page 3 above the fold. Boy, that's as perfect as you can get. $175 is right online. Raise real estate. Okay, so that's coming from a real estate company, this Facebook ad. That's pretty threatening. You don't want to really do that. Looking to purchase call. Yeah, no, this is not a good offer. You're trying to sell this property, right, in this ad. And although this might appeal to, a handful out of 100 prospects that see it, you're disqualifying the overwhelming majority. And your call to action is to call. So there's a lot wrong with this ad. Low price with great schools. This is an example of a realtor running an ad trying to promote their property listing. So, you know what? Let me just say this. If you're going to do that, at least you're not disqualifying all of the prospects by including information about bedrooms and bathrooms and square footage. You know, that. Here's the bottom line, though. If the reason you're running this ad is to generate leads, then this is a very poor way of doing it. A much better way of doing it would be to run a free list of, properties in all prices, great deals, distress sales, etc., and then have a map of your area with a whole bunch of drop pins representing great deals in the area that could match. Here's the difference. If 100 prospects saw that ad, they can't disqualify it. Not one out of the 100 can disqualify that free list. They can't disqualify. They can't say, well, that's not what I want, because they all are looking for that. But this particular property is easily disqualified. Now, because you didn't include the particulars on the property, it's less easy to disqualify, but it's still a property for sale. So just be aware of that. And here's all I want to know. In addition to running an ad like this that offers a specific property, you're also running ads that offer lists of properties, which are far more appealing to far more prospects. All right, let's keep going, Andrea. That property looks familiar. Okay, so here, more disqualifying. 5-bedroom. Who is disqualified from 5-bedroom? Answer. Anyone who's looking for anything other than 5-bedroom. They're disqualified. So only someone that would want a 5-bedroom property. Now, to the prospect that wants a 5-bedroom property, when they see the photograph, how many of those that want a 5-bedroom are going to be disqualified because this kind of property isn't what they're looking for? This is too old, right? It looks like it's an older property built in the 60s or 70s. Disqualified. We don't want to run ads that are disqualified by the overwhelming majority of prospects. We want to run ads that can't be disqualified by the overwhelming majority of prospects. So if the reason you're sending this in is because you're saying, look, I'm running this ad to pacify my seller. I want to show my seller I'm putting forth an effort to market their property. Is this a good way to market their property? I'd say yes, 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 and yes. But the key is, in addition to running an ad that promotes the property, we also want to be running ads that offer a free list of evergreen community deals. Right? That's a much more compelling ad. I'm going to run an ad that offers all of the properties in Evergreen. A free list of evergreen properties, first-time buyer properties in Evergreen. Here's something else that's kind of unusual as well. If you're targeting first-time buyers, and this is a 5-bedroom property, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say most first-time buyers don't buy 5-bedroom properties. They don't buy 15-bedroom properties. Most first-time buyers probably would more typically buy maybe a 3 or at best 4-bedroom, maybe even a 2-bedroom. But so I don't know. You get the point. You get the point as far as when we run a property ad. The problem is if 100 buyers see the ad, of those 100 buyers, 99 of them disqualify the property because it isn't what they want. And the one that doesn't disqualify it, if all they have to do is call a salesperson, they too say no thanks, and you get nothing. So you started with 100, you dwindled it down, and you ended up getting nothing. If instead we run an ad that offers a free list of evergreen community first-time buyer deals, free list with pictures, map, address, out of 100 buyers that see that, maybe 40 of them are looking for a first-time property in Evergreen. Well, if we've attracted 40 and not disqualified them, then we're going to get a whole lot more bang for our buck. So I want you to do both. By the way, it's also a benefit to the seller. If you show your seller, look, hey, I'm going to show you the marketing that I'm going to do to promote your property. I'm going to run ads like this one, promoting your property, lots of pictures, details on the property. But in addition, I'm also going to run an ad that is looking for first-time buyers looking in Evergreen. Because when I find a first-time buyer looking in Evergreen, I'm going to show them your property. I'm going to sell them your property. But if I can generate 10 to 1 more buyers doing that than just advertising your property, the more buyers I generate, the more likely it is I find a buyer for your property. The seller's like, yeah, that's a damn good idea. So we're going to use what you're going to do as an advantage in your listing presentation. All right, let's keep going, Andrea. Your home sold in 21 days guaranteed will pay you $10,000. Okay, well, first of all, great guarantee, right? Very, very bold guarantee, but there are 2 problems with it. Okay, let me start with something easy to change. The color scheme is difficult to read. You got a dark background, dark writing, dark background. You can experiment with colors to make sure that it is overwhelmingly readable, that headline. Number two is that you need to be more associated with that guarantee. So Ray's Realty should be at the top. You need to find room and have your pictures at the top. In other words, the whole benefit of promoting a USP, the only benefit, well, the main benefit of promoting the USP is name association. In other words, we want any prospect or consumer for that matter that sees this ad to associate your 21-day home sale guarantee. We want them to associate it with Ray's Realty and with you. If they don't, then it has not achieved its goal. The only other benefit would be to generate a direct response from the guarantee itself, which will happen if you include a call to action, but you have not included a call to action here. So 2 things have to change. Well, 3. Number 1, let's experiment with the colors here so that we can make this more readable. It looks too faint because you've got dark writing on a dark background, and it doesn't stand out as much as it should. This is a very bold offer that other realtors in the marketplace certainly are not offering. So we need to be much more bold in making sure that this stands out. Okay, number 2, we need to make sure that you are associated with this. So move your picture and your Ray's company name to the top. You must be associated with this guarantee. Otherwise, there's no point in offering it. The whole benefit is that you are the ones that are offering this very unique, bold guarantee. And then finally, number 3, there needs to be a call to action. We need to direct the prospect directly underneath the guarantee. Visit www.evguaranteesale.com to receive a free report detailing this offer. But that needs to go directly underneath the guarantee. All right, not in the same size type, but the call to action needs to be immediate. Okay, so those are little things to change, but that's something that you want to do in this. Now, the next thing is, what is this? This is a direct mail piece. If it is, you need to make more universal offers. So you've got a just listed, just sold. Okay, well that's good, but what if we made an offer for a free online home evaluation, or better, an area home sales report? Find out what homes in your neighborhood are selling for online. That would be a better offer to make, or in addition to what you're doing here.
Well, as you see, ad number 11 is the other side, and there's a lot of unused space that could have been used.
You've got plenty of room here to make some really good universal offers. You could offer a free list of properties for sale. You could offer a free quick over the net home evaluation, a free area home sales report. Find out what homes in your neighborhood are selling for online. Your home is worth more than you think. Find out online. All kinds of universal offers that should be made on this direct mail piece. The problem is that what you're doing right now is it looks like you're essentially promoting, an individual property, and you're not going to get the bang for your buck that you're looking for here. But this can be easily improved. And this is just an example of a branded direct mail piece. What's really effective is you mix it up so that from week to week, you mix your branded with a less branded direct mail. So that way you can send the direct mail out to the same homes, but one mailing they're going to receive branded from Ray's Realty, and then the next week they're going to receive a less branded message that focuses solely on the universal offer.
And James, haven't you always said in the past the person receiving this is going to receive the side that is with the postage. And there's nothing really on that side that would make me interested in turning it over.
Yeah, Andrea makes a really good point here is if you notice this from now on, when you go to your mailbox, okay, I notice this now. When the post person puts the mail in the mailbox, they always put the stamp side up, right? Because that's how they sort their mail. They're sitting in their little mail truck, and they're going through the mail in their bin, and the mail is all sorted the same way, label side up. So when it goes in your mailbox, it all goes in label side up. So you grab the mail out of your mailbox, you bring it into the house, and you're standing at your kitchen counter, and it's all label side up. And you're glancing at each piece of mail, and Andrea's dead right. Your headline is on the other side of the postcard. Your main benefit, the main thrust, the main differentiation is on the other side of the postcard. Now, you could say, well, won't people turn it over? Some. Most wouldn't, though. Most are going to look at the side that has nothing but white space and a picture of a lone property here. So, yeah, I would definitely look at changing that without question. Move the label to the other side so that you can be you can make sure that the guarantee is what they're going to see when they sort the mail. Good point, Andrea.
Okay, we have another Facebook ad coming up. Let me make it a little bigger. And if this member is on, this is a really good example. I'd love to know what kind of results they got. This follows our formula almost exactly.
Yeah, this is offering hire an inspector before you put your property on the market for a free special report on what to look to avoid problems during escrow. See, you got to remember this though. The difference with Facebook is that no one is going to Facebook looking for real estate information. So we know that. It's not like a classified or when they're going onto a website that is for real estate. I was just scrolling on Facebook to see what my friends were up to. So this photograph doesn't have anything to do with any home inspections. We got to know that. All right. So when we're scrolling through, we can see this pretty picture, and it says, "Don't make this huge mistake." In other words, I think what we want to do with this is we just need to call out to who this is for, right? Like it needs to start by saying home sellers. It needs to call out to, okay, who is this for? And that is the only thing that I would change with this. Is I would make it very clear. Instead of just saying, don't make this huge mistake, I would have it say, home sellers or La Jolla home sellers. Don't make this huge mistake. Hire an inspector before you put your property on the market. For a special report on what to look for to avoid problems during escrow. Yeah, you know what? I think we can just do better on the wording. It's a really good offer, and Andrea's right. The format of this is really good, but what is being offered, I think, can be streamlined a little bit to be more beneficial. The free special report is about what to look for to avoid problems during escrow. Yeah,
I want to say
it's about how to pass your home inspection. That's what it's about. A free special report reveals how to pass your home inspection, or how to avoid. Yeah, I just think we can streamline this a little bit, and it needs to call out to who it's for. If this ad is for La Jolla home sellers, it needs to say La Jolla home sellers. Now, underneath, I'm just reading. It says it's critical. It's critical that you read this report before you list your home. That's more compelling. If you wait until the building inspector flags these issues for you, you almost certainly experience costly delays. I think that that's more compelling than what it says above.
Something that I find interesting too is the button says download. And I don't think I've ever seen that before, so I wonder what you're downloading, and if that will turn people away. Right.
The only, I mean, if you click on that and it takes you to the landing page, then that's cool. Which, maybe it does. Maybe that's what it does. When you click it, it takes you to the landing page because there's nothing to stop you from putting a button that says download. That would be a very cool discovery, because the perception of the prospect is when I see this as a prospect, when I click download, I expect to download the free special report.
And Alexandra is confirming, yes, it takes you to the landing page. People click more often on a download button.
Absolutely, they do. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I want to work on the wording of this to make it a little more streamlined than it is right now, and I think that will be better. And this is a beautiful picture of La Jolla, and I just because of that, because it is not even remotely specific to home inspections or selling your home. When you're scrolling through the news feed, remember, a photograph is going to attract 99 out of 100 eyeballs. So if I'm attracted to this photograph and it has absolutely nothing to do with the message, it isn't unlikely that I just keep on scrolling and scrolling. So maybe that's something that we want to consider as well. Maybe we can put a message across the photograph, something that would denote this is for home sellers. It's very important. Okay, let's keep going, Andrea. We're almost out of time here. We're going to have others that we're going to obviously look at next week as well, I think.
That's correct. And I don't think we'll get to all of our ads today, so whatever we don't get to will be shown next week.
Well, see, this is good. So let's read this headline. 11 high-cost inspection traps you should know about weeks before listing your La Jolla home for sale. Don't screw this up. I love that. I like this one. Just, now the formula isn't quite followed here, Andrea, because you'll notice that the domain name doesn't follow the offer, right? Like it does in the ad number 12.
Right.
For some reason. So you should do that. It doesn't cost any more to do that. And but again, the download button is there, which that's really, that's a cool idea. Right, the idea is you can hit the download button to read the report, but of course it's going to ask you to request it. All right, let's keep going. No more Facebook ads.
Okay, we've actually seen ad 14. It looks like I loaded it twice. So we'll look at 15, another editorial.
9 leads, paid 7, $385. Wow, that's really expensive. Home delivery, well, that's partially why. But a local paper that's delivered directly to the home, and here's what I'm hoping. If this is delivered weekly, it hangs around. It hangs around for 7 days, and so you can generate leads every day of the week from an ad that ran once, which is pretty good. But $385. Here's what I'd recommend. You can talk to the newspaper, and if you know that you generate leads from this newspaper, then by committing and saying, look, I'm going to give you 4 different ads. You can rotate these ads. You never need to call me. Just run the ads. As long as you run them, on the right-hand side at the top, you can run them. You don't have to call me every week. You can just rotate through these ads. I will absolutely commit to the ad. So I'm easy. I'm an easy one. You've got my ads. You've got my commitment. I'll sign a contract. I will run these ads every single week. I'm easy. Just take my money, run my ads. But if I'm going to commit to that and you're not going to have to do any work to procure my business, you got to cut me a deal. And the newspaper will do that. It's all arbitrary. What they charge is completely arbitrary. So anyway, that's a strategy that you want to take. But here's the bottom line. I don't care that this costs $385. If you generate 9 leads every time you run the ad, that's a home run. I mean, you're generating a whole lot of leads, and these are seller leads as well. So there's a lot of listings in there, and with listings come buyers. So I mean, there's just hundreds of thousands of dollars of income in these leads. All right, ad number 15. Let's keep going.
Okay. Do you want to skip over that since it is a Facebook?
Yeah,
okay.
I like the map. But does this offer a list of properties? Yeah. Anyway, again, if you're gonna, I would like to see you see this is a free report reveals how easy it is to buy a home. Then why do you have a map? The whole point of the map is here's a free list of first-time buyer properties that carry for less than rent. You're offering a free list with map, address, locations. Very compelling to a first-time buyer. These are properties with low down payments that carry for less than rent. Holy crap, I need to see what this is. That's way more compelling than a free special report. I want you to test that next time. All right, let's keep going.
Okay, at number 16.
MississaugaMustSellCondos.com. Where did this ad run? What is this? What am I looking at here? Mississauga must sell condos, must sell, bank owned, power sale. I mean, it's definitely a pretty compelling offer for the condo prospect looking in Mississauga. I just want to know where it ran. That is the question. MississaugaMustSellCondos.com is a really good offer. Abandoned units, that's a really good one. I love that. Bank-owned, power sale, foreclosure, estate sales, abandoned units. Oh, that's a great one. That's really compelling. You're just laundry listing all the great deals. I'll tell you what is going to, this ad is sink or swim, is where this runs. Where this runs is really going to dictate the success of this ad. So, that would be what I'd be curious to find out. But yeah, it says here, get your free copy. Received a free computerized printout of recent must-sell condos in Mississauga. These condos are offered at huge discount and represent great value. Get your free copy. No cost, no obligation. You could spice that up. I would have it say free computerized printout with address, maps, locations. Let's make it sound really good. Let's make them really salivate over what they're going to receive by visiting MississaugaMustSellCondos.com. But I like this.
And the only comment we have is maybe rethink the red first letter of your URL. It just doesn't seem right. It looks kind of funny with the red M, the red S.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe that it's M, but I guess what we're trying to do is make it readable, or because it's a pretty long domain name, Mississauga must sell condos. So perhaps there's something to be said that by doing that, it makes what is a very long domain name, a lot simpler. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's worth a test, but I don't think I don't see it as detrimental to the response. I think that for me, it made it easier to read MississaugaMustSellCondos.com. But yeah, we're probably getting into the nitty-gritty with something like that. But it's a good domain name, Must Sell Condos.
Okay, and we have some direct mail, which I know Craig would love.
Find out what your Thornbury Woods home is worth online. Love it. Find out what your Thornbury Woods home is worth online. Find out what homes in your neighborhood are selling for. Yeah, this is really good. Now, it's hard to tell what side of this postcard, Andrea, since you brought that up, and it's a really good point. It's hard to tell what side of this postcard, but probably the ad number 18 is the front side. It looks like it has more white space for the postage. Very good. You want to know why this is very good? Whose is this, Andrea?
Well,
who designed this postcard? Does this look familiar to you at all?
Yes.
In your 15 years of doing this, does this look familiar?
Yes, Craig would love this. He would say, this is going to do awesome. So
he would say, I bet you this was designed by a genius, he'd say. Probably. Okay, so let's keep going. Very, very good. Good copying. Because it works, man. And you know what? When I say invented, make no mistake. Craig experimented week after week, year after year to arrive at this formula. So this was not like wake up one morning and I'm going to invent a successful direct mail campaign. It evolved over many, many months and years of testing, tracking, you know, and to arrive at this very simplistic formula of huge specific benefit and then easy non-threatening commitment. You know, so, and you're just taking it and copying it, and it looks like, oh, well, this is easy, but I'll tell you where it came from and how it evolved is anything but easy, including the domain name, the landing page, and everything else that goes with it. So that's why I say when I see a homemade ad, you know, I mean, I want to critique it and figure out, well, what could we do to make it better? But it always circles back to, but hang on a second. First, we copy. Right? Before we try to invent anything, we just copy what already works. Before we invent our own direct mail postcard, let's use this one because this contributed to the sale of 500 homes a year for 15 years straight. I'd say that's pretty good. So why wouldn't we just go with that one first? And very likely what you'll find is when you just copy and you achieve success with copying, there is no need to invent anything. You don't need to. Just do more of what already works that you've copied. All right, let's keep on going here, Andrea.
Okay, ad number 20 looks like business cards for a team.
Okay. Very good. Yep, and I like this because you've got a guarantee on there. You've set yourself apart, and clearly your guarantee is associated with the McKeon team, which is excellent. It's exactly what you want to do. It's amazing how easy that is to set yourself apart. All business cards are seemingly identical, kind of like for sale signs. They're all the same. They're all identical. Do they have to be, though? Of course not. We can set ourselves apart. We can offer guarantees. We can include calls to action on all of these things. And so that's what Dave and Jim are doing here. This is a very good example of that. All right, let's keep going.
Okay, we have a really nice version of our statistical direct mailers.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, so this is a branded example. And see, now here's a good example of how the guarantee is associated very clearly with Lozano and Philip. Lazaro and Philip. Apology. That's right, Andrea?
Yes.
Which is critical. The whole point of having a guarantee is that you are associated with that guarantee. The whole purpose of a guarantee is to set yourself apart from your competitors. So if we just have a standalone guarantee and it's not associated to anyone, it kind of defeats the purpose. So the Ramos team is clearly associated with this very beneficial guarantee. Your home sold at a price acceptable to you, guaranteed that we buy it. And then you've got the call to action underneath to find out how much you can sell your home for and how long it will take. Call us. You know, I'm thinking that if you really want to follow the formula, what you really would like to do is move that up. Just move that underneath the guarantee, and then move the 3 big reasons just down an inch. That's all. So in other words, you're just going to reverse the order. There's kind of like three sections to this message. All we're going to do is we're going to reverse the third and the second section. That's all. So that the call to action comes directly after the guarantee. And you know what? You may find marginal difference, but we've got to make it clear as to how the prospect can respond upon seeing the guarantee. But this is absolutely excellent, excellently formatted. Your home sold at a price acceptable to you, guaranteed we'll buy it. And then we've got some testimonials here. Very good idea. Now, Andrea, this looks like it's direct mail.
Right.
But it is not clear how this is distributed by direct mail.
Correct. We have a few members are asking, you know, is this a postcard? Where would the address go? And the only time I know where you wouldn't have to put an address is you're using Every Door Direct, or if you're having these delivered by hand.
But you still need to have room for the postage mark.
That's
on
true.
it. Now, here's the thing. This is coming from Home Life Regional Realty. Now, Home Life is Canadian, so 416 area code, that's Toronto. So this is going out in Toronto. So they don't use the same mailing system in Toronto. In Canada, they have, they do bulk mail. So I'm thinking that that's how this works, is this goes out by bulk mail. You don't need to have, it's not Every Door Direct. It's not the same way. So that would more explain why everybody's going to get one of these in their mailbox, and that's the Canadian mailing system, which is a little different than how it's done in the U.S. But very, very good. This is a home run message. I like this. And again, what you'll find is the best formula is you rotate a branded with a less branded direct mail campaign. Right? That's what Craig did for years and years. He sent out a ton of less branded online home evaluations, like the example we looked at a little while ago here, Andrea. But then what he also did is, once a month, he would send out a branded direct mail piece like this one that you're looking at right here. Right? So we're getting prospects that are responding to both. Because here's the thing. You will always generate more volume of prospects with a less branded message. But you will generate a higher quality of prospect that is easier to convert with a branded message. So in other words, every lead that the Ramos team generate from this direct mail piece are going to be a home run prospect because they're responding to a branded message. They're responding to an ad that's coming from realtors. So the level of motivation in that prospect is very high, that they're at that point in the process where they're ready to contact a realtor for information. So converting that lead is very easy, or much, much easier. You want both. The volume of prospects from less branded and the quality of prospects from branded, you're getting the best of both worlds when you rotate them like that. Okay, Andrea, let's save the rest of the ads here and we'll look at them next week. Because we do have a lot, but I do not want that to stop you from uploading any of your ads that you have that you want us to look at in the meantime. So make sure that you do that. Monday morning, we're going to have our helpline session with Success Website. Is that correct, Andrea?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, so bright and early Monday morning, we'll have everyone on the line, and what we're going to look at specifically are the landing pages. So with all of these ads that we're running, what can we do to tweak the landing pages to maximize our lead generation from them? So until then, have an awesome weekend, everybody. Andrea, thanks so much for your help today, as always, and your expertise. And you have a great weekend as well.
Thank you. You do the same, James.
Monday.
Yes, thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful weekend ahead.